Lawsuit.
Heinies.
Go ahead, or just straight questions? Straight questions.
You're pretty familiar with Greg Schiano, right?
Yeah.
What was your experiences with him when you were a player and he was an assistant on that team, and just your relationship over however many years with him, and what you respect about him?
I respect. He's there's lots of coaches that are regarded as like the best coaches in college football. Not many could do what he's done. Okay. Speaking as a guy who won at Temple, and I mean, you go win at Rutgers. Before he got there, not many people had won there, and he won there at a high level, left and came back, and he's winning there again now at a high level. He's a great football coach. Point blank. He's just a great football coach. Great builder. He's elevated that entire university. I have the utmost respect for him. When he speaks, I listen. I just have a lot of respect for him.
You thought after the game, your initial impression was Gunnar did pretty well. Did the tape kind of confirm that with the O-line and just how they got after it?
Yeah, I think so. I think Gunnar played well. I mean, there's some things, he wants to continue to work his anchor. As he's getting people going speed to power on him, he continues to work on it. He'll get better. That's a really important thing this week. There's no better coach defensive front you'll see than the Rutgers D line. I think our guys know that from playing them 2 years ago. Because what I like about Rutgers is you look at I have this big board in my office, and there's not a lot of transfers on there, right? There's a lot of homegrown talent, and a lot of tough Northeast kids that play really hard. So Gunnar will have to do what he did last week. Continue to get better. I think it's a credit to the guys on our scout team. We have a lot of guys who've played a lot of football who play on our scout teams that give them a really good look.
Javin made his debut on Saturday. Just how do you think he played just after everything he's been doing?
Yeah, Javin went in kind of in like a nickel and dime role. It was, when this first happened, we never thought he'd be able to play at this point. Dr. Mathiasen, our team doctor, and the work he's done with the specialists. I mean, I honestly, we were hoping maybe for USC, the hard part about my job is I only get called in when it's when it's the heartbreaking conversations. I'm not the position coach. I'm not there for the the day-to-day good ones. I'm not always the fun guy, but I was there for that one with Javin and his father, and just like I was with Ramir last year when his season was over, and those things are heartbreaking. And so to see the joy on Javin's face to play was that was a moment that will stay with me for a while. And so, how did he play? Honestly, I'm not even sure that it necessarily even matters. To be quite honest, but he thought he played well. He'll play more this week. He hasn't practiced, hasn't been able to do a thing. It wasn't like, hey, he's coming back from an ankle. He's dealing with, blood clots and all that stuff. So he's, hasn't done a thing really. And but he went out there, and luckily, as he said to me, I'm a ninth year senior, whatever he is. So he's got a lot of reps in the bank.
Status for the week: Stefon, Thompson, Micah Mazzccua. Do you have a personnel update on just some of those guys that weren't with you last?
Yeah, Micah was suspended last game. He's reinstituted this week. That was kind of middle of the week that happened, so it wasn't something we were. I met with you guys. I wasn't anticipating that, to be quite honest with you. Stefon Thompson has a sprained foot, and he ran well today, so we're anticipating him practicing tomorrow. So I'll know more about that. And then Tommi went out like the NFL, like 2 hours before the game and worked out, and just didn't quite feel like he could go on it. Now he ran today and felt good. So I would anticipate Tommi having a chance to play this week. I think that'll be another probably, to be quite honest, game time decision. It's all the plantar fascia is all pain threshold, and it's not like can you tough it out. I mean, I've seen guys miss a long time with it, so he's doing everything he can to play. So we'll see.
Michael ready to be back in the lineup?
No, I wouldn't put him. I wouldn't start him. I mean, he was a backup before this happened, right? Like like when he came out of the Colorado game, he was Toski was put ahead of him. So he's got. I love Micah. I'm working with him to make him the best he can be. You guys talk a lot about him, but he's a backup player for us.
This is not asking you to criticize the refs, but what is the process that you guys go to as a staff to
maybe send in certain plays weekly. Do you do that type of thing, or and what's the end result of that process?
Yeah, you send them in. You send in, hey, is this a question? Is that a questions you have? They'll send you back whether they agree or disagree. There's like a weekly tape that they send you that has points of emphasis from the week before. So like, I'm saying from the whole league, so you can kind of hear what's being said to the officials, and then if it's something that rises to a higher level, right? Maybe you get on the phone with somebody and say, hey, So like for me, because I got a penalty, because I injected myself into the game, I made a call to figure out what I did right or wrong. Yeah, I mean it's just kind of like, hey, you send your plays in, you get them back, they tell you what they agree or disagree with, and you're trying to figure out as much as anything. As the rules change, okay, can we do this? Can we not do this? Can we hit a what used to be a great play is now a penalty sometimes, right? So can we do this? Can we not do that?
A couple key blocks, including on that Ja'Cory Barney touchdown. Just what did you think of the impact he brought as a perimeter blocker?
So Alex was one of the guys we talked about in the team meeting. We ran that play earlier in the game, and so they run with motion. So if you send a guy in jet motion, they chase him. And so last week, Oregon State had a ton of success handing the ball off. And really, people, for 2 years, that's the kind of one of the things you try to do against Purdue's hand off jet sweeps, right? Well, they made the decision, and we actually practiced it in case they did it. They made the decision to, instead of running with it, to like rock and roll the safeties, which is a little more complex, but it's better in terms of speed sweeps. So the first one, Alex is going to go block the man-to-man guy. The man-to-man guy doesn't come. He sees a safety, he tries to veer off, he goes and blocks him. He misses it, it's a 4-yard gain. Now they get a 15-yard penalty for throwing his legs or whatever. So I yelled at Alex on the sideline. He was about ready to fight me. They ran it again. Alex sees it, makes the block. Ja'Cory runs for a touchdown. You see Alex turns around. He does this passionate, like, I don't know if he was telling me to get lost or if he was just fired up. But it's those kinds of things that we really are trying to build off of, like, preparing through the event, seeing how people are playing you. What do we need to do differently this game based upon what they're doing? Like, again, we're in warm-ups, and number 4 goes from playing middle linebacker now to playing an edge player. Oh, shoot. Okay, how are we going to handle this? Now 31's now no longer the deep safety. Now he's down low. 32's a deep safety. So that's one of the hard things about playing a team that's struggling. They've lost their last 2 games because they're probably going to make some fundamental changes. Alex is just becoming more and more and more the guy that, like, the coaches or Dylan will say, hey, can I have Alex on this play? Because, he's a guy who finds a way to get a job done, and he was excellent on special teams. He was fantastic on. The shame of the special teams is like, the field goals was so front and center that, like, it was a heck of a day for Brian Buschini. I mean, 5 touchbacks, in kind of hurricane-ish type conditions. I wasn't sure if he'd get the touchback. I think 4 or 5 touchbacks, right? An amazing tackle that lit the team up. 2 tackles on. He was able to field both those snaps, which were really bad snaps, get him down, then made both tackles on those plays. Pooch, the first one, should have been down at the 2, right? So he made an excellent pooch and then put one at the 10, one at the 4. So Buschini, I thought, was magnificent. And Bullock, another guy like that. I was trying to talk to our team about the unsung heroes, the guys that no one's noticing. I thought those guys, Alex was one of those guys.
You guys are +5 in turnovers. Is this kind of what you envisioned when you thought about where you could be if things went right and turned around in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I probably didn't think we would be. I probably didn't prepare for. Yes, we said it. Yes, I thought we would. If we could just not turn the ball over, we'll have a chance. Games will be close. We'll have a chance to win the game at the end. I didn't probably prepare for us being as explosive as we are in terms of, like, we're really, I mean, even in the first half, I showed our guys, it was, and forgive me for the numbers might be off, 32 plays for like 210 yards in the first half, 27 plays for 208 yards in the second half. So it really wasn't like we weren't explosive. So what you're seeing, I think, is you're seeing other people now slow the game down, run the ball, try to bleed our defense, try to keep us off the field. And so what you could see is like a young quarterback going out there being like, hey, I'm going to be extra aggressive because I'm only getting, we played 57 plays on offense. I'm not getting a lot of plays. But what I like about Dylan is he's checking the ball down. He's getting completions. He's moving the ball. And but yeah, I think that the turnover margin, You know, I think we've won it in every game except one we tied it, right? And even the game we lost, we won the turnover margin. So I'd still love to see us get way more. Like, you know, we have a couple sacks. Like, we have 5 sacks with no sack fumbles. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. So those are the things. And I say that because our guys in the meeting, they were like, you know, Ty Robinson barrels through, sacks the quarterback, and he's the first guy to say, I need to knock the ball out there. So there's a lot of places we have to improve.
Where are you exceeding your expectations in terms of creating explosive plays? What has your offense done better than maybe you thought it would?
I think we have the ability. I think we've had the ability to get the ball to a bunch of different people. Like, you can't sit there and key in on, hey, they really like to favor Nayor. Hey, they really like to favor this guy. I mean, really, you know, if you throw in the pass interferences, right? I mean, I think we had 7 20-yard plays, and that would probably have been like 10, 11, 12, right? So it's not like, hey, it's just this. I mean, we're able just to go out and throw kind of general tempo drop back, and we're holding up in protections. I mean, Emmett and Ramir were excellent picking up blitzes. So I think that's allowed us, you know, some catch and run type things. What I'd like to, you know, there's some things I'd like to see more of. Like, you know, we weren't great in the red zone in the first half. We were 0 for 2 in the red zone, and we were 2 for 2 in the second half, which is why the game changed, right? Third down was disappointing. But, you know, when you look at it, it was 4th and 1 and we false start, and it was 3rd and 1 and we false start. So just, as I told our guys, it's time for, you know, grown man football. Enough of that. I thought I heard him clap, or I thought I heard, like, enough of that. Like, come on now. So if we could stay on the field a little bit more, you know, maybe get a few more turnovers on defense, I think we could really see some explosive things happen. But you're about to face some teams like Rutgers who, you know, they don't give up explosive plays. They make you earn it. You know, Coach Schiano doesn't give up explosive plays. You know, they don't play quarters. They're going to make you earn it. You know, they will pressure you. And as much as we you know, we're kind of built to, like, we want you to pressure us. We get the ball out of our hand. You know, they can sit there. They play 4 3/4 with rugged players, and they'll try to knock you back into the quarterback's lap. So it's a whole different animal that we're facing this week with the way they play.
Washington gains 521 yards and scores only 18 points. Kind of the template of, like, what their defense is good at, is preventing those big plays.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're. I just went through it with the team. I think they're in the top 2 or 3. Right? They convert third downs at 51%. Right, so they stay on the field. They're 33 minutes of time possession. You gave me the stat, Keith. It was they're top 10. Let's just say top 10. They're top 10 in red zone defense, right? So, you know, Washington had a bunch of yards, but they were 1 for 5 touchdowns in the red zone. So, you know, we have to even the touchdown we scored, but we had to get to 4th and inches to get it in. So, for us, while we're throwing the ball around decently, you know, can we get the tough yards? Can we get the 4th and 1? Can we get the 4th and 2? Can we get the 3rd and 1 without everything having to be a speed sweep? You know, can we line up and knock you back and go get that yard? And that's the state. You know, as you look at the things that we're not doing well or doing well, or what we need to improve upon, it's those hard, tough yards that I'm anxious to see.
Hey, Rutgers have got a known history of blocking kicks under Schiano. He's got 71 blocks in his time there. How do you guys address that this week? Just the importance of that phase of this game, after especially what we saw last week.
Yeah, and I'll just say this: last week wasn't the field goal protection team. It was the snapper. I mean, like, if you're kicking a ball at like 1-5, you know, operation time. I mean, to me, it's the snapper. You know, if we practice so much on special teams, on field goal, on punt, all those things. If we have to start changing stuff now you have to. If there's a problem, you fix. But if we have to start changing things now, then we're panicked. I mean, we know what to do. And I mean this sincerely. Like, we know what to do, and we have the guys who can do it. They got to go do it. You know, like that's the phase that we're in. Like, if you guys have heard me talk about, like, winning football to championship football, like, you can't be a different guy in practice than you are in the games. And you know, like, we're making those kicks in practice every day, and so I expect us to make them in the games. And we're making that snap in practice. So, I expect us to make them in the games. So, you know, they're going to come after us. They should come after us, right? You know. But, you know, one thing we are doing, like, you know, we went after the first punt. And if you go back to the last couple of games, the punters are getting the ball off against us in, like, 1.1, 1.2, and the balls are going 35, 40 yards or going out of bounds. Like, our punt rush team hasn't made the big play that everyone goes wow with, but the field is being tilted in our favor. Like, we're getting the ball at the 40-yard line. They're getting the ball at the 5. We're getting the ball at the 40. If anything, I'm coachable. I watch Coach Ferentz. I watch these guys, and I'm like, okay, how are they winning in these elements? And the elements haven't really showed up yet, but when they do, like, the wind was there on Saturday. But yeah, they're going to come after us. We're going to, you know, we got good players. They have to play well, and that's really been my message to the team is like, you can't all of a sudden now change who you are. You got to be who you are. You know, if you're fast, be fast. If you're tough, be tough. And, you know, do it against a really good Rutgers team.
Did Ceyair do well to arrive midsummer and figure it out to get to where he is right now?
Yeah, he's smart. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you're smart and you try, you have a chance. You know, some guys play football because they're talented. Some guys play football because they're football players. I don't know if that makes sense. like you somewhere along the way, like some people lift weights because they're lifters. You know, some people run because they're runners, right? Like Ceyair's a football guy. He's a football player. So he shows up and you're not pulling teeth. We have some guys who are really talented, but you're trying to get them to be a football player and they want to be everything else, right? Ceyair's a football guy. He's played a ton of football at a high level at USC. The moment's not too big for him. He likes to compete. He had to learn kind of our way of doing things, our way of practice and all that, but he's a really, really good person. And so when you do correct him on something like, hey, here's what we expect, he does it. And then, I think John Butler's done a really good job. And then, Melvin and Adam DeMichael and Tariq help him, and they do a good job of getting people reps. And then if you go back to that game, we had Mario Buford in there playing in crucial times. We rotated more guys. Jeremiah Charles got real reps. So we wanted to get more people in the game so we would be fresh in the fourth.
Dylan mentioned on the touchdown throw things that he went from a double cadence to a silent count. Said there was noise and just a lot of different stuff going on that play. It was a third down. First road game. Is that he kind of talked about it nonchalantly, like he just did this. Is that kind of thing rare for a quarterback like him to do in that spot?
I mean, I think the thing that we've done with Dylan is we've said, everything in life happens for a reason. I had a chance to work with a guy, Ben McAdoo, at the end of my Carolina time. It didn't work out for us. But Ben had been with McCarthy and all those guys in the Green Bay and the way they train you in Green Bay. And they start the year off, hey, here's our 4 or 5 man beaters, here's our 0 beaters, here's our cadences. And then you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you train him that way, and then pretty soon he has all the answers to the test when he's out there. And so I think what we've done with Dylan is, I've said it from day one, I think Steve asked me the first week, like, we're just, however we want Dylan to play when he's a junior, we're just trying to coach him that way now. And the same thing with Danny Kalin. So, here's your cadences, here's your checks, here's your audibles, here's your opportunities, there might be different things on different weeks, but even right before the half, they brought 0 and he checked to a wheel route to Ramir and just missed Ramir. But we're living with those things. Like maybe we didn't want to do that. Maybe that was, we could have just won them. But we have coached them up and they've put the system in that's really, really, really high level stuff because he can do high level stuff. And he works at it, he reps at it. Like, I'm in my office today. He stops in my office. He's talking about the things that they do and what, can I do this? Can I do that? So, I think he's rare, but I think the confidence the coaching staff has given to him to go do it, and then also I think that his preparation's like way, way, way over here.
Where do the 5th and 6th year guys fit into allowing that to happen?
Yeah, well, I mean they're growing too because they're in territory they haven't been in before, right? And so, they haven't been 4-1, right? They haven't. I don't know how many road games they've won, right? They haven't done those things, and so it's this humble confidence to stand your ground, right, and not, be confident in the things that you're confident about, but also be humble to say, hey, what do we need to improve upon? So, can you come in this week? And can you have the same edge to you as you had last week about what do we need to get better at, while at the same time being confident, knowing, hey, I'm a good player. I have the right to. I've worked hard. And so, a lot of those guys, I think they're all growing. I don't think it's age as much as it is just, hey, what does this take? What does this require? Like, you watch Purdue, and Purdue gives up. He gives up. I don't know how many yards he gave up to Notre Dame, but it was just a bad day, right? And then they give up, 300 some yards rushing to Oregon State. And I think, Sam asked me, I was like, well, we don't really have a running quarterback, and they're not going to. Your defensive head coach is not going to give up 200, 300 yards rushing 3 games in a row. He's just not going to do it, right? So they played man and left their guys on an island out there, and so we went out, we threw the go balls, and, so I just think, like, our guys, like, learning, like, hey, because we're winning a few games now, people are going to do different things against us, and I've got to get to the game. I've got to recognize what's happening in this game. It's not all this emotion beating our chest. Da, 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 da. It's like getting to the game and being like, what are they doing? Hey, this is a cover 2 game. Hey, this is a this game. Hey, this is a that game. And then them seeing the preparation, the things that we're working on and showing up. Like Barrett Liebentritt, I said this on the thing, he had the same play in practice that wasn't very good. We showed it to the whole team. He got in the game and he absolutely took out 2 guys, like you guys said. I hadn't seen that yet. So, hey, practice matters, practice matters. And the guy that he hit in practice was Marquise Buford, who's, 2 ACLs, bad shoulder, bad hip, bad neck, plays in every play, but yet he's out there in his black shirt, competing on a Tuesday, because that's what we do here. And so I think those older guys, them still being coachable, them still having a lot of say in things, like even some of the discipline issues that I'm dealing with, with guys on the team. I take those things to like the leadership council. Like, hey, how do you guys think we should handle this? I haven't done that in a long time, but I'm taking it to them because it matters, which is, to be quite fair. This is why I really don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about the guys that aren't doing things right. I want to talk about it because I have so many guys who are doing things right. I know you have to ask about them. Trust me, I get your job. You just have, I sometimes you see why I'm the way I am, but I'm just blessed to have guys out like Tommy Hill's out there battling to play, so battling to get back out there.
Emmett Johnson's averaging 48 assuming he's one of the guys that is doing things right for you. Do you have to rethink the way that you rotate your running backs given his success, or do you kind of like the spot that he's in coming in the way that you guys?
No, I think I said last week, hey, we'd like to get him more involved, and maybe a little bit earlier we should have. I still think there's like a rhythm to it in terms of tackling Dante is really hard. Like on the first touchdown drive, there's like a 2nd and 1 or 2nd and 2 where Dante bounces the ball outside, and there's 2 defenders there, and he sets his pads and he runs right through one of them. If we ask Amir and Emmett to do all those things early in the game, then they're not going to be, to me, explosive late in the game. So I think having the big backs, you have to just understand that they're setting the tone for the run game. But what I loved about what Emmett did was Emmett caught the ball out of the backfield. He picked up blitzes, and then the first guy never tackled him. And we have our little keys to victory every week. And one of the things for this week was get the ball in the perimeter and be untackleable, right? Like, don't let them tackle you. And even like an outside zone that he cuts back, he gets 9 yards because the first guy's never really tackling Emmett. And, it's like I said to Gabe Irvin, I'm watching Gabe in practice last week. Gabe came off a major injury. He's getting his swagger back. So I think we have 4. Ives is over. Ives can go in and play. So, but yeah, I like what Emmett did. And so Emmett deserves to keep playing. He was one of the guys we singled out out there just because he just did so many good things, and not, maybe wasn't one huge play. He certainly bailed me out after my penalty, which I appreciate. So I'm very grateful for that.
What do you see with Kyle Monunga, the Rutgers back?
It's like the Matrix, it's like nothing ever kind of hits him. Like he's running, and like he's just got such elite body balance and contact balance, but also like he sees it coming, and so no one ever gets like a true shot on him, right? It's always like a glancing blow. I think he's really, really, really a great player. Their offensive line coach, Pat Flaherty, was was like my mentor when I was at New York. And one thing I know about Flats is like they're gonna set their pads and come off the ball. They're gonna be well coached. They're gonna be physical. Like you watch their guys when the piles, there's a pile, their guys are come running in and diving into the pile and trying to knock it forward. And so that's the type of offense people have been playing against us. That bleeding, like, hey, we're gonna get 3, 4, 5 yards, just stay on the field, try to wear you down. So that's be a heck of a challenge for us. And then he brings in the element, though, Mitch, of like, they had him backed up against Washington, and then 3 guys hit him, and you can run for, he can run for 60. So then when he gets tired, they can bring in, Sam Brown. And he's 227 pounds and an excellent back. So they've got 2 of the best backs we'll see.
How do you think the defense is done handling that kind of style going at them, and how are they continuing to adjust?
Well, I think we wouldn't have been pleased with it, in games 3 and 4. I think last game I thought we were better at it. There's still, with the way we play, with the amount of movement and pressure and all that stuff, there's a play's going to hit now and then because we're moving, right? Like, but I thought, holding the 52 yards rushing. They came in, they were averaging a lot more than that. And, we prepared so much for the outside zones. We knocked the outside zones out pretty quickly, and then it kind of became, hey, some of the downhill stuff. I think it was that first drive of the third quarter. you know, the guys in the headset were like, hey, they're going to the Illinois plan, you know, and so our guys on defense understanding like Illinois hasn't shown this, but now they're going to it against us. You know, these guys haven't shown that. You know, the Rutgers is a difficult run game for us because of the way they run the football. They run duo, they run it mid zone, they run the quarterback a great deal, you know, and the quarterback might be coming out to throw RPOs, but he's an athletic player. We played against him in Minnesota, so it's a lot of really difficult challenges for us this week, and so it'd be quite a test for our defense.
What do you most appreciate about the way John Bullock is playing?
I think I like the fact that like he's a 5th or 6th year player, whatever he is, and he just keeps getting better. Like we showed, you know, that was Tampa 2. He's the will linebacker in Tampa 2 that he picked off versus 3-by-1, and it's like they ran that same play twice before, and it's like he almost went to go get it. It's just like, oh, you know, and then finally he just went and got it. And you know, while he's kind of go back to the earlier question, while he's a 5th year player, he's really played linebacker for about 14 games. And last year we had Luke and Nick out there a bunch. He rotated a bunch, so you know, he's still a young player in terms of his development as a linebacker, but he gets better and better and better, right? He's always working on something. He's working on getting off blocks or striking or his blitz patterns or playing man. And so if all of our team was like John in terms of the constant search for improvement, deliberate practice, you know, you'd have a hard time losing because he's always trying to get better. And now he gets, hopefully he gets Stefon Thompson back this week. You get Javin Wright back now in the mix playing for us again. You know, Vincent Shavers is really stepping up, and a guy like John doesn't maybe have to play as many snaps, so his snaps he can make impact plays like he did. He's really affected the ball, Steve. Like you talk about how many times now he's got his hand on the ball. 3 against Colorado, I think, maybe 1 against UNI. Last week he takes the ball away, rips the ball out. This week he picks the ball off. So we're talking about turnover margin, and we're saying, the defense is taking the ball. Really, he's taking the ball away, right? Even the play Tommi picked off. I talked. They went to throw the ball number 2. He rolled in the window, so Shedeur had to go outside to number 1, and he picked that ball off. So John's just done a lot of nuanced things.
Inducted into the Nebraska Athletics Hall of Fame this weekend. What memories do you have of him, maybe from afar at Nebraska, or when you guys crossed paths in the NFL?
I don't even want to think about when I crossed paths with him in the NFL. He was just so dominant. He was a Heisman candidate as a defensive player. The most dominant defensive player, really, if you think about it, in at least in my recent college history. And what I love about Ndamukong is as dominant as he's been on the field in college, and then he shows philanthropy, giving back to his university, which you don't always see, right? And the weight room's named after him because of him and his family's generous gift. And then you play against him in the NFL, and he's this vicious, amazing competitor. He was in Tampa Bay, and he's hard to block. Yet you look at the impact he's having on people, on young people, in terms of saving, in terms of investments, coming back, helping guys with NIL, in terms of how to manage their money. Like his purpose in life is about way more than just football. So I'm excited to have him back. I think it'll be great for our players. I'm hopeful that at some point he can come by. I know his weekend will be packed, but he can come visit with our guys. And it's really a great, powerful message when your players see that the best days of their lives are not their recruiting rankings. Or not, how they were drafted even. Each thing should be better than the next, and life after football should be the ultimate, right? And so Ndamukong comes in with a beautiful wife and great kids and doing amazing things, so tremendous role model for our players.
On the different topic, but maybe you've talked about it before, but your thoughts on what's going on in North Carolina with the Storms?
Yeah, I've had 2 stints of living in North Carolina, so when I was in Charlotte and Carolina, and I have a lot of great friends there and people that we love. And so, our concern, our heart has been there. And when Julie and I first left, we were married for just a couple of years. We lived out in Western North Carolina, and just out past Asheville and Cullowhee, where Western Carolina University is. Jarrett Washon, who's right over there, was one of my top guys. I coached him there, and all those wonderful people in all those small towns, up through into Tennessee and down into Georgia. My heart is certainly with them, and as someone who's been a part of a few of those kind of like disasters. Like, you know, you see the absolute worst, and then sometimes you have a chance to also see the absolute best. You know, people, you know, picking up and leaving their lives to run, you know, run to help. And but it's sad and it's unfortunate. And I met so many wonderful people in both my stints in North Carolina, really in South Carolina. And my daughters still go to camp in Western North Carolina. So all these people that we care about. So yeah, we've been on the phone. We've been concerned. We've talked to, you know, people. Some people we haven't had a chance to talk to. Jarrett's family's still there. So we've been a little heavy-hearted over all that. And our hope is that you know, the best part of man will step up at this time. So, all right, thanks, guys.